What's up, everybody? This is Musiq Matisse. This is In Studio, brought to you by First Fam Radio and SMG Solo Music Group. I am Musiq Matisse. I'm joined behind the boards, as I am each and every week, by my engineer and partner in crime on the air, the one and only
First Fam Chill.
What's going on, man? Our guest today is a unique artist. I was listening to some of this young man's stuff last night, and it gave me a good feeling. We're glad to have him on. It took me back to classic hip-hop. I was vibing 92, 93, 94 last night with a touch of 88 and bringing it back up to 98. Put your hands together, everybody. Welcome to In Studio Podcast, the one and only Lush One.
Standing with it. What's the deal?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Man, it's an honor to be here, chopping it up. I'm a big supporter of the platform, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Good ones only.
Absolutely. We thank you for coming in, man. We got some questions that we definitely want to get to the bottom of. First and foremost, where are you from?
I'm from the west side of Los Angeles, 5700 Block Clemson, born and raised.
Okay, your whole life. Okay. What were your influences?
So I had older brothers, had the luxury of having older brothers, respectively 12 and 14 years older, which is quite a bit. So, you know, my parents had me at 39. They swear to God that I was planned, you know what I mean? The verdict is still out, though. We don't know. But my brothers, that was a perfect age difference because they were too much older to beat me up. You can't really beat up a little kid that you're 12 years older than. But just close enough in age for them to lace my tennis shoes, put me up on game with some dope music. And so I heard hip hop for the first time. I was 4 years old, and Ice-T, 6 in the morning. That was the joint that, you know, way before I was supposed to be hearing things like that. I don't know if it was the hypnotic bass lines or the rebellious nature of the music and a few words I probably shouldn't have been hearing, but that combination really appealed to a young me. And then, you know, in the wake of that, it was a big mix of West Coast early gangster rap and just classic hip hop. So everything from, you know, Run DMC, Eric B. and Rakim, Public Enemy and the Fat Boys to NWA, MC8, you know what I'm saying? All that. Eazy-E was a huge influence on Too Short. So
all classic. So you were like a child like myself, I guess, that I refer to as, and it has nothing to do with ethnicity, just with the music that we listen to. We were building that hybrid wall. Like no matter where we were listening to some of everything. You didn't let, like during the whole East Coast, West Coast thing, this and that, and others, I'd be back and forth to California on business. And, you know, I'm from Brooklyn.
Right.
So it's like listening to a lot of my peers and my colleagues. I'd be driving through Harlem and I got the Conscious Daughters playing. I'm driving through, you know, parts of Brooklyn and I got Paris playing. I got the Hieroglyphics. I've got Souls of Mischief. And constantly I would have friends, what the hell are you listening to? You know what I mean? That's right. Constantly. So it's interesting because when I listen to you, it's just, I'm like, okay, I hear the possibilities here. This guy is going to go somewhere with the right push. He's not going to have a problem getting there. But lyrically, I'm associating with what I'm hearing from Nas and what I'm hearing from the CL Smooth and what I'm hearing from, like you said, the Eazy-E's. That whole mix, the way you mixed everything up, the unique thing about it and the music I've heard from you is the simple fact that it doesn't sound like it's any type of a gumbo. It just sounds like it's real music. And that's like an oxymoron. But it's dope as hell.
No, I appreciate that. And I think that's very accurate. Like culturally, I was raised in LA. So I have, you know, gang culture around me, you know, low riders, palm trees and all that. You feel me? Swap meets and roller rinks and West Coast culture permeates. I got palm trees in my DNA strand, but musically, like the lyricists that I grew up, it's that grimy classic New York sound. A lot of people think when they hear my music, if you don't really listen to like hear the references, which I use a lot of West Coast references, but the style and my accent, you know what I mean? Like I pronounce my R's like I'm from LA, but the overpronounce my R's, but like, you know, like you said, Nas, Mobb Deep, Capone and Noriega, M.O.P., DITC, these are like the prevailing influences that shape my musicality.
Yeah, but it, you know what it goes to show though. It also goes to show that realistically, my theory on it is with music, period. And I've always said this since I was 14, 15 years old, just getting into music. Every song is just a piece of a continuous song. Like every song goes together, no matter what genre. It's all part of. I think when we hear different songs from different artists, we're just getting a small piece of what I consider a continuous song, no matter
Mm,
what the genre is. I think every single song, what we call a song, is just a piece of one big, huge song. And we're just getting
absolutely.
that 3 minutes of it because I'm listening to your metaphors and I'm listening to your references. And you threw a couple of things in there about Hell's Kitchen. And I'm like, okay, he's from the kitchen. Like, what does he know? You know what I mean? Because back in the day growing up, that was a hot spot. There was a
Right.
mini in New York. Like, you knew, don't go up into the kitchen fucking around. You know what
Period.
I mean? Because that heat will get on your ass. It's called Hell's Kitchen for a reason. Like they didn't play the artists that came from that area, just the whole vibe. But the one thing that I love so much about California, and shouts out to all my family, friends, relatives, everybody out there, But the one thing that I want to get into later on down the line, I just feel there's a vein that is not fully tapped out there. And that's when you look at artists like yourself, you look at the hieroglyphics, you look at the Souls of Mischief, where they put it on the map. But I want to see it go further because you got some
Right.
lyricists from out there that don't get the shine to me, that they deserve. You look at a guy like Locksmith,
Yeah.
and you kind of put me in that vein with him as well. Like lyrically, I'm like, damn, this dude. I'm listening to your shit last night, and I'm like, this guy's really like, he's got some shit. So, as an independent, are you an independent artist?
So technically I am, but I
Mm-hmm.
have being signed to Humag
Mm-hmm.
distribution. That's a subsidiary of Sony, so it's
Right.
technically major distribution. But I'm independent. Shouts to Lock, by the way. That's my dog. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Shouts to Souls and Hyro. Those are my big homies. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And yeah, I've been on labels. I've been independent, and this is kind of like the perfect amalgam of both, having
Mm-hmm.
a major push, but I still, at the end of the day, I'm in control of my own destiny.
Right.
I own my masters. I have my diehard fan base, which is who I cater to. And now with this major distribution, it just kind of catapults me to a higher category, it enables me to get on outlets such as yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just a great marriage. As far as the New York thing, something I should probably mention is I spend a lot of time in the East. My parents are both from New York.
Okay.
I'm first generation Angelino, but my mom's from the Bronx. My pops is from Uptown Manhattan. So like,
Okay.
I spent a lot of time, and that influence is
Right.
definitely there.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, but I've, lived overseas for a while, lived in every borough in New York with the exception of Staten Island.
Hmm.
Like I said, had time and places and lived shortly in California area on business. It's just to me, I just like to absorb the culture,
That's
period.
it. That's
You
it.
know
You
what I mean?
said it.
Yeah,
Every
because
time I go to a city, I'm
mm,
finna take a little bit of that with me and implement
yep,
it into my style and my repertoire. And that's how come I'm able to make references. And if I only made provincial references that people in LA would understand, then that's gonna be very limiting. You know what I
right.
mean?
What explain to me the whole situation with Humag now? This is a distribution company, but isn't it also much more than that?
It is. It's very on paper strictly distribution,
Mm-hmm.
but what it encompasses working with somebody like Rob. Now, Rob, first of all, his history goes back. Like this is the dude when he was over at Polygram, was the original dude distributing Mobb Deep's first album, Juvenile Hell, before
Mm,
they went to Loud. He signed
right.
J. Rue the Damager. Put out the second album, Wrath of the Math. He put out the Blase Blah. When the East is in the House, Danger single.
Mm,
So he's
yeah.
got crazy roots in boom bap, classic golden era hip hop. So when he heard my music, which was due to the fact that my fiance, who's an artist as well, in a group called Urbano. They're more like in the pop EDM lane. I kind of like, very different from me, but dope as hell. Like her and her brother, their music kind of like on some Black Eyed Peas type. You feel me? Very like commercially accessible music. And she was signed to a label, and their offices were right next to the Humag office. So she became real cool with Rob, and then eventually showed him my music, and he was like, "Whoa, this kid nice with it." You feel me? He talks that talk. So him and I started talking and struck up a deal very quick. And the situation, so if he is feeling you, he's going to take a vested interest in it and push the line way more and operate almost in a managerial sense, definitely like as far as lining up media, as far as, you know, just helping oversee the release of a project and strategize. So it's way more than just a regular distribution deal.
Right. Okay. All right. So they're basically like a situation where they're almost like an entity of all trades to a degree.
Low key, it's like the damn near like a boutique label that actually makes money. You feel me? Like it's weird. I've never seen anything like it. I feel like I struck gold. It's the best. Me penning my name on that contract is the best move I've made in my entire career. And you know, I've been doing this since the '90s. So.
Well, that was my next question. How long have you been, you know, rhyming? How long have you been writing rhymes? And how long have you been in the business altogether?
Well, since Crisscross had me wearing my clothes backwards, you feel me? Because I'm the same age. So like, and you know, like I've had a lot of brushes with success. I've had some successful projects, but I also had a wild life. You know, I was a live wire and I was deep in the streets, and I had a bad drug problem. That I'm now 13 months sober of all drugs and alcohol, all mind-altering substances. But for a long time, you know, that journey was very, very rocky. So even the moments of success that I've had and the accomplishments have always had an asterisk next to it, because my addiction made me fumble the ball and slip. And sometimes I was too deep into slanging in the streets and doing craziness to actually fully go forward and focus on the music. So that's how come, you know, it took me a fat minute, but here we are now.
Right. Well, I'll tell you this. I want to commend you, number one, on your recovery.
Salute.
Continue to take it day by day. Don't even worry about, you know, tomorrow, next week in that regards. And just take it step by step, man, one foot in front of the other. I always say, you know, I heard an expression years ago, and I always tell people, you know, 1,000-mile journey can't be completed without the first step.
Period.
You know what I mean? There's no way it's going to be completed. And you think of that as a continuous 1,000-mile journey. And, you know, make sure that you do everything you need to do. Nothing is worth going back once you're on that road to recovery. That's the thing.
Sir.
You don't want to screw up the work that you've already put in hour by hour, minute by minute, day by day. So congrats on that. And just continue to stay focused, man. Do you think, and it's funny, and I'm glad you brought that point up, and thank you for your honesty. Do you think that as a culture and an industry that sometimes we, in regards to our culture of hip hop, the lifestyle focuses too much on the drugs and the alcohol?
You know, I think that it's hip hop is a reflection of society. And this is you know, going back, talking about the Public Enemies and NWAs, they were reporting what was going on within our communities. And even going back to, you know, like White Lines and The Message way back, like that was talking about, this is the reality of the streets right now. This is what's happening in our communities. And I think hip hop still does that. And it's issues that are plaguing our society overall. Now, I think at a certain point, the reporters have become the influencers, and there is a little bit of negativity as far as the perpetuating of the ideology of, hey, it's okay to party. And at the end of the day, let me tell you like this, like I don't criticize anybody else's music, but where I feel like there's a big lacking in the game, and where I feel like my lane is to talk about the other side of the game. Like, yeah, everybody talk about selling dope, everybody talk about turning up, getting high, you know, doing the most with the ladies, whatever, like, but we don't talk about, I don't hear too much about the consequences. What happens? Like, okay, yeah, you sold all these birds. What happened when you fumble the play? What happens when the feds is on you? What happens when, you know, enemies shoot up your parents' crib?
Yeah.
What happens when you get high on your own supply and overdose? Like when there's green lights on you because you ran off with the plug. Like, and these are all things that I experienced firsthand. Like, I know it's not all sweet, and for me to just perpetuate that image would be reckless and also derivative because everybody else, a lot of people already doing that. So like, I'm still talking about a lot of those same topics, but just
Right.
from another perspective.
Mm-hmm. And that's the good part, because it's a balance, because we went from, and with your track record and knowing the business and how long you've been at it, like the same thing with myself and the same thing with Chill, we went from a culture where, like you said, we were being told don't get high on your own supply. KRS-One is telling us how love is going to get you. Grandmaster Flash, their messages. We went from all of that positivity to now the kids are being told to use drugs. They're being told
Right.
to pop Molly. They're being told to use ecstasy. So it's kind of your music yesterday was really a breath of fresh air. Do you think that, as far as a lot of the corporations and the entities and the powers that be, do you think that they play a significant part in what they promote and push and what they allow to be on platforms for the masses to be exposed to?
You know, I'm definitely privy to a lot of those theories, and I definitely think there is credence to it. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and there is agendas of control, and even to take it a step further, like genocidal undertones to a lot of those, to a lot of their agendas. But really, at the end of the day, what I think it comes down to is money. They see what works, they see what's popping, and they're going to get behind that. And if without fear of the consequences or the ramifications, if this causes mass incarceration, if this causes, you know, people overdosing, horrible things happening in the community, gang violence, that's
Right.
whatever, as long as they can capitalize off of it. You know, like going back talking about the early 90s when you know, Diggable Planets and A Tribe Called Quest and Black Sheep and all these groups were popping. They was quick to get behind that. But as soon as that wasn't selling anymore, then it was like on to the next. And gangster rap became the, you know, ubiquitous. And so to me, I feel like, is it like some nefarious plot? I don't know. Could be. I'm not gonna say no. But what I think more than anything is it's just apathy. They don't even care as long as it makes them dough.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, where you are right now, do you have an entire album fully ready, or you just dropping multiple singles?
So
What are you?
I just dropped those joints you heard were from my album, which is my last name, Hyams, available on all streaming platforms. And you know, I look at, it's dope to listen to the songs individually, but the way it was crafted was in the vein of, you know, like Raekwon Only Built for Cuban Links, where it's like every song's kind of like a scene in a movie, and they all
Right.
kind of, and that movie happens to be my life story. And so that project is out. I got a bunch of other projects on the way. I got my foot on the neck this year. Like there's no, now I'm fully sober, firing on all cylinders, and I got a grip of music to drop, and I'm not playing around. But at the same time, I'm exercising quality control. I'm not just putting out any old record. It has to fit with the overall plan.
Right. So let me ask you this: with everything going on, how has COVID affected you professionally? How has it affected releasing music? We all have taken a hit as far as live performances, shows, you know, different streams of income. But have you personally been affected by this as an artist and as a human being?
Well, you know, it's crazy. So I went to treatment last year in the beginning. I was in treatment for 4 months. You know, I'm what they call a chronic relapser. I've been, you know, in
Right.
10 treatment centers, incarcerated, all this kind of stuff over the past few decades. So when I went to treatment, it was the beginning of February. So a month into me being in treatment, it's apocalyptic road warrior, you know, Mad Max going on outside, and the whole entire world got shut down in the midst of the pandemic. So when I came out, it was a completely different world. It was kind of a rude awakening because I was kind of aware through the media, but we were very isolated from that stuff, and we're in a quarantine within a quarantine essentially. So I didn't really realize the severity of everything until I got out.
Right.
And overall, like I wasn't even expecting, like, you know, I done all kinds of shows overseas, etc. So I wasn't really tripping on. I was like, I need to get my life back on track. So didn't have too many plans for that. But then coincidentally, things started to really snowball with the music. got a deal, got a bunch of hosting engagements. I've still been, out of most people, by the grace of God, I'll say the pandemic has not really adversely affected me career-wise very much at all. You know what I mean? Like I've been able to, I think part of it is because just like yourself, we've been in this industry, we've been in this culture for so long. I've seen all the ebbs and flows and changes, and as technology changes, the game changes. We went from, slanging CDs and tapes on the corner outside of record stores to MySpace, to the digital era, to, you know what I'm saying, to digital streaming platforms and all that. So I just looked at it. You just got to be adaptable and stay ahead of the curve. So that's what I tried to do during this change. And when things open back up again, it's a wrap. But until then, in the meantime, in between time, can't stop, won't stop.
Right. Do you think when it does open up, I think it's just going to be batshit crazy when it opens up. I think it's just going to be shows and opportunities and things for, all of us all over the place. And I do think that as independent artists, we will have an edge because unlike the major money makers, a lot of them have suffered to a degree trying to cover expenses, overhead and everything else. Us, guys like you and me, we've been nose to the needle grinding for years. So it's like this for us is going to be like a takeoff, if you will. Like, okay, we're leaving the runway now.
Yep. I agree. And I think that as society, people are so stir crazy at this point. I seen there was some show in Florida or one of them states that be super open with the with the rules or whatever, and there was like a line around the block for people to see Bow Wow, and that no slight at Bow Wow, but if they're that excited for that, I can't even imagine. Like they want to go to shows, they want content. So when it opens back up, all of us are going to be able to get our money on, charge more for shows. People are ready.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's the funny thing is and we get ready to wrap shortly, and we do appreciate you, and we definitely want to have you back. We definitely want to have you back, man. That's not even going to be a question. The weird thing, you mentioned Bow Wow. I just saw something in the paper the other day about he's dropping one more album and then he's going into the WWE.
Let's go.
You know what I mean? I'm like, listen, get your money. How you got to get your money? Who am I? But chill. You got anything for our guests? We can't hear you. You got to unmute.
Yeah, how can everybody get in touch with you on social media?
Hit me up. I'll be on the gram. It's LUSHONECA. Twitter, LUSHONE. Hit me up, chop it up about music, whatever. Anybody that's struggling with recovery or got questions about that, I'm open for y'all as well. I do this for y'all. Much love. I appreciate this opportunity. Both of y'all cool as hell. And please, I would love to come back and continue discussing this and pushing the line. And, I appreciate y'all support of the album and the music and your kind words. I know that y'all not just finna give away props like a free lunch. They only earned on this platform. So, that's love.
Yeah, damn, chill. Did our reputation precede us and we ain't even got off the ground yet?
Hey, man, you know what I'm saying?
No, man, it's been a pleasure. One thing we definitely want to do, we're going to definitely have Rob on and everything and sit down and talk with him. But down the line, somewhere we got to put our heads together between SMG, between you guys, between First Fam Radio. It's funny you mentioned the recovery thing because we got to put our heads together and see maybe this spring or summer if we can do something in that regards to recovery. You know what I mean? And
I would love that.
Recovery. So I think between the three entities, we're going to work something out, whether it's May, June, July, August, or what have you, because that's very important, man. And I appreciate you for being that honest.
No, that's a big part of it too. Yeah, no, my recovery depends on rigorous honesty. Like that's how we moving. But yeah, shouts to First Fam Radio, shouts to SMG all damn day. Y'all been doing big things, and it's dope. We got to definitely connect game like Cube and Mac 10 and make it make sense.
Oh man, that's a hell of an analogy. Damn, you ain't lying there, man. One last time, Lush, before we wrap up, let them know the name of the album, the songs, where they can actually download and stream this. And I advise you, if you are a true hip hop head, if you love beautiful hip hop music, you like lyrics, definitely check out Lush One. But give them that 411 before we go.
Yeah, on your digital streaming platform of choice, whatever you rocking with, whether it's Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, Apple Music, whatever it is, I'm there. You feel me? I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. Them lames are never there.
Mm-hmm.
The project is called Hyams. That's Hyams. Singles are called Mad Deep and Foreign a Baby. Got videos on the tube and all that. My name is Lush Rome. You can call me Uno. Tap in. That's how we come.